Guys, Somer del Piso here. Living in the Western world, being a citizen of one of the many cities that make up the nations of the Western world, Western Europe, France, Germany, England, Spain, and then of course on the other side of the Atlantic, the United States. We are no strangers to existential crises, right? The more we work and go forth and press on in this very, very monotonous and basic and standard and sort of boring world, right? We get caught in these routines. We create these routines for ourselves unwillingly, right? And unconsciously, at least the clever ones of us, to deal with the situations of life much more easily. You have to work, you have kids. Imagine, there's a hypothetical situation here. Kids, you have to work, you have to pay bills at a certain time. So to pay your bills at a certain time, maybe you automate your payments, or maybe you just have a reminder on your phone to pay that bill by a certain date. To take care of kids, maybe you have phone reminders again in order to remind yourself to buy Pampers or whatever you need for children these days, and so on and so forth. And we do these routines for weeks and then months and then years, and then we going to work all the same without having any sort of creative expression. For most of us, a lot of us just follow the tides of life, the ebbs and flows. And then we sort of get hit with this truck, this metaphorical truck. And the name on the truck, the company funding this truck, is the company of Existential Crisis. Now, it's crazy. We can't avoid this. This is everywhere. This happens to all of us. Some of us are very, very good at concealing it, but at the end of the day, it hits us all the same. When I say us, I'm not talking about the ones that practice semen retention. Today, we're going to talk about existential crisis, the reality of that situation that occurs for most of us, and how semen retention helps you avoid this seemingly inevitable thing. So like, comment, subscribe as per usual, and then let's talk about it. Disclaimer, I should have said this in the beginning of the video, but my opinions and my feedback about the topic at hand is not a reflection of what's going on inside or what I've been pondering in regards to my own life. No, I am a man on semen retention that has been on semen retention for a very long time. This current streak is close to 7 months, and I feel absolutely dandy. Existential crises, the swords and the weapons with which they use to attack individuals, the sword of routine, the sword of monotony, the sword of inevitable responses to everyday situations that come up, right? I have parried them all unwillingly, because this is just what happens on semen retention. As we know, guys, the followers of the channel, the retainers, right? The true retainers, we know that we get a boost of energy, testosterone goes up the roof, so you feel like you could do more physical things. The drive for competitive sports or competitive anything kicks in. Of course, there's the downside of being very, very reactive, being very, very angry, and sort of, not necessarily scanning a situation for what objectively it is, but rather how people have judged you since you've been on semen retention, how people have reacted to you in their new form. And so you react to everyone else, assuming that they're all doing this, they're all the same type of person. They're all the same type of people with the same types of judgments and same type of backgrounds, which is not very true. I invite you guys, the longer you are on this practice, to sort of change that mindset a little bit. You know, people are different, even though they seem very, very similar, and they're caught up in that trap of monotony and routine, lending to their personal existential crises. On this practice of semen retention, you feel a boost, not only physically, as I've described before, but with less needs and less requirements of the said physical, right? You tend to free up a little bit of emotional and mental space in order to compartmentalize the vicissitudes and the events that happen every day. When you are not continuously stressed out, look, we're gonna have an example here. Come with Somer del Piso. Imagine hypothetical situation. You're used to standing on your feet all day, right? And because you're not on semen retention, you sort of get stressed out a bit more easily. Everything, you feel like you're carrying your entire body every time you walk to and fro, and just everything is just shaky, right? As we all know, on semen retention, the physical prowess that you just somehow obtain out of nowhere will hit you so powerfully, right? And you can do shifts like that and stand up for a long period of time without really feeling any pain or feeling any discomfort. Because on semen retention, you're not as stressed as you would be off of semen retention from a shift like that. When you're going home, you're not going to be completely irritable, and perhaps you'll avoid a lot of those interactions that, you know, those negative interactions that come about usually when you're on semen retention. I'm explaining it on a micro level, and then we're gonna get into existential crises and how semen retention helps you avoid that. Just imagine that small situation, right, that you avoided, you know, those small events that you avoided that tend to leave a little bit, that scars the soul and the psyche a little bit, because you have a bad situation and then you now blanket a lot of individuals that perhaps look like that individual that you had a bad situation with, or just individuals in general that you met at that time of night. The same way, oh, they're all like so aggressive, I don't like people like that, when in reality, you just can't handle stress well because you weren't on semen retention. That's just the long, the tall, and the short of it. Existential crises, those things come out of nowhere. You sort of ponder a little one day, and then you realize that you are sort of trapped in a series of if and for loop statements. At least this is how I think about it, right? You have to eat, you have to use the bathroom, you have to drink water, you have to feel emotional distress when you lost a family member or someone that's close to you, and maybe you're not making enough money or as much money as you think you deserve. Your life is not really going anywhere, right? This is when the existential crisis comes in. Huge claws, not gnashing teeth, but a gaping mouth, right? Because it's gonna be a comfortable ease into oblivion, right? As that specter of existential crisis comes closer towards you. Semen retention, when you're on it and that specter is coming close, you look in the middle of the abyss, right? You look in the middle of the void and you realize that there is indeed a limit. Existential crisis has no power over you, because the nature of existential crises is someone wishing that they fell into the standards of life, the standards of their society. At this age, I have to advocate. At this age, I have to have this much money. At this age, I'm supposed to have this much property. Or you look online, this person that looks just like me and seems like to talk like that, they talk like me, they like hockey like I do. They are a certain way and I need to be a certain way, that same way, and I'm not there yet. So I'm sad. On semen retention, you realize that you are indeed powerful, you indeed are enough, you are strong, you are versatile, you are magnanimous, you are expansive. Why do you need to fall into the same standards of everyone that around you that are not on semen retention just to try to fit in and be important, feel important? Because at the end of the day, they don't really lend much to the way that the ebbs and flows and the waves and the winds and the motions of life. At the end of the day, the more you are on semen retention, the longer you are on your personal streaks, you guys, the more you start to feel strength, the more you start to look at these ideas, these standards that were placed upon us, right? From a different time when, of course, the economy is different. I'm just giving you guys a little logical insight, right, on the situations that make up these existential crises. You look at them when you're on semen retention and you just sort of shake your head. It's nothing. It's nothing. This is nothing. You look at it, you take it for what it is, and then you carry on with your life. On the practice of semen retention, one of the most powerful benefits, when you are on it for a long time and you are experiencing life as it comes, is that you don't have any expectations. Whatever happens, happens. And like I always say, I'm always talking to people that are on long streaks. You take things as they come, pause, and you just go through life with peace, not taking on so much stress, not taking on a lot of negative energy, negative karma that inevitably you'll need to exhaust, right? Release. That is the power of semen retention over existential crises. They come in many, many forms. And even when you're on semen retention, they'll keep coming. You'll have a friend that has this beautiful girlfriend, or you'll have this other friend that has all these very, very nice cars. And then you'll look at these things, you'll look at these material items, these ideas, even people that have, you'll start a YouTube channel and then you see someone maybe talking about the same topics that you do, but yet have 100 times more subscribers, right? Or seems to have much more success. you will look at these things and on semen retention on a long streak and realize that you're not really aiming after those things, so it's not very important to you, right? Or even if you are, you'll get there on your own pace because you are grounded within your own energy. Do not feel destitute on semen retention. Do not ever feel destitute or feel like you're captive by the specters, hands of existential crises, especially when you're on this practice of semen retention. That's all I really got to say today. Share the video with some peers, of course. And as always, don't let this world get you down, nor all the events that happen within it. Existential crisis is a real thing, and depression from existential crisis is also a very, very powerful thing. But it is nothing to the practitioner of semen retention, and I promise you this. And stay radiant. I'll see you guys in the next video.